and we'll start off on Sunday. The Bears and the Jaguars played. The Bears all over the Jaguars, especially 35-16. Packers all over the Cardinals, 34-13. The Ravens beat the Commanders 30-23. Tyler, your boys get the job done barely against Cleveland 20-16. The Colts survive against the Titans 20-17. Texans all over New England 41-21. The Buccaneers beat the Saints 51-27. The Steelers beat Sam's Raiders 32-13. The Chargers over the Broncos 23-16. The Lions make frauds out of the Cowboys 47-9. The Falcons beat the Panthers 38-20. And then for our primetime games on Thursday, the Niners beat the Seahawks in the Emerald City 36-24. On Sunday Night Football, the Bengals beat the Giants 17-7. And right now, happening Monday Night Football, the Bills and the Jets are playing, and that game is at commercial as I just glanced up and looked for a score. So we'll get you
It
one a
is
little bit later.
7-3 Bills.
Obviously, the Raiders disappointed. We don't really need to dive in. They just they just weren't ready. They didn't get off the bus. They looked all out of sorts from the brief glimpses I saw while I was sitting at Plank in Oakland at Jack London Square, hanging out with my family. I had a cousin in town from Seattle, actually, oddly enough.
Nice.
And we're going to circle back around to that in a little bit as well.
We
But
we should
Tyler,
say though,
yeah,
that the Devontae Adams situation, given the Raiders,
mhm,
it's all over the place. I mean,
yeah,
he could be a Jet, he could not be a Jet, he could be a Saint, could not be a Saint, he could still be a Raider for all we know. So, last report that I got that I saw, I'm sure you saw the same thing, Vince, was that there's a good chance he could just stay being a Raider. So I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know where your hopium lies, depending on which team you are hoping him to be on, but
Yeah,
it is divided.
I would say if you're an AFC West team, I don't think he's going to go there. So probably not the Chiefs, probably not the Chargers, probably not the Broncos. I don't think he's going to come to the Niners either because that's like a former local rivalry that I don't think Devontae would appreciate that, and I don't think uh, the Raiders would want to see him succeed at in their old home as well. So I don't know. So outside of that, maybe it's the Jets. Maybe it's maybe it's the Saints. He reunites with Derek Carr, but Derek Carr isn't even playing right now. He's injured. You got the rattlesnake, Spencer Rattler playing there. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's talk about your Eagles game. Nick Sirianni started chirping fans after barely squeaking by against the Browns.
So
Is he's on the hot seat, right? He's on his way out,
it's
possibly.
crazy because like the organization, Laurie's never fired a coach mid-season. That's never happened. He's not a record say that he'll never do that. But Sirianni's making a good case to get himself fired in the middle of the
He's
season.
sure shit trying, isn't he?
Yeah, look, I didn't know if he was chirping at fans or opposing fans that happened to be there. Now he's come out and apologized to the fans, so that tells me that he obviously was chirping at the fans. Look, Philadelphia, it's outside of maybe New York media. You're gonna get it from the fans, whether you win or lose. They want to see winning football, winning any kind of sport it may be, whether it be basketball or baseball, you name it. And look, I'll take the W, but there's a couple things that I watched that game and I'm like, it's the Browns, man. It's not like we're going against the Chiefs and we squeaked out that win. You know, we're going
Yeah.
against the Browns, and I don't know. I think defense stepped up as they always do. It's great to have AJ back and Devontae. They both got themselves a touchdown in this game.
Mhm.
But man, there is some glaring issues with this offense, and one of the biggest issues was that the Eagles still haven't scored in the first quarter, and they haven't done that since last season. They're going 6 straight games without scoring any points, not even a field goal in the first quarter. The last time the Eagles did that was in 1934. I feel like that's not a record you want to be a part of. You obviously want to put points on the board, set a tempo early, and it just seems like we always go 3-and-out every single game, and we are actually because we don't score any points. So, like,
Right.
it's a win. I'll take it, but at the same time, it didn't really feel like a win that I could feel confident about. And
Right. Yeah. It wasn't a win to cure your ills,
yeah,
so to speak.
we haven't had a double-digit win, I want to say, since October of last year. And so,
Been damn near a year then.
yeah, so it's pretty rough out here. Look, it's not the end. Our division is pretty mixed up. The Commanders look way better than everybody could ever imagine. I know they didn't win this week. Actually, nobody won this week outside of the Eagles, but still, there's plenty of time to turn this around. So I'm not off the train of Nick Sirianni, but he is making a good point for me or good chance of me wanting to have him fired after next week. So we'll see what next week brings me.
Yeah, you're only a half game back of the Commanders, who surprisingly are out in front right now. They're Jaden Daniels looks pretty good, and I made a trade for him in our fantasy league. Yeah. So
who would have known that top quarterback pick that everybody wanted was going to be really good, right?
Right, I know, right? Jesus. Anyway,
so your Niners, man, you kind of had a butt clinching third and fourth there. So, but it looks like they came out here. So break it down.
See, here's the thing. Here's what you got to do is what you do is before the schedule is released next year, you buy tickets for a Thursday night to see Wicked. Okay, and then you have both the Sharks and the Niners schedule games on that exact same day, including the Sharks home opener, by the way. All right. So you schedule both of those. So that way you don't have to see like I could only watch the first quarter and a half when the Niners were doing pretty damn good. I wish they would score more touchdowns than field goals. That's another thing entirely. But as far as I knew, everything was going fine. And then I look at the highlights later and I'm just seeing touchdowns, and I'm seeing interceptions. So as far as I'm concerned, great game. I did find a little bit of humor that I was watching Wicked while the Niners were literally in Seattle, the Emerald City, getting a win up there, while I was in San Francisco, watching Wicked. It was just kind of a fun full circle moment right there for me, even though I couldn't. Obviously, I was in the theater. I can't watch the game while the theater's going. It's not allowed. So, but yeah, so I did watch back the game, and I mean, what can you say? You get the win. It got a little bit closer than I would have liked, but oh well, win's a win. And Ricky Pearsall is back at practice today. His window has been opened from the non-football injury list, so got a little bit of reinforcements coming, and I know that Hufanga got put on IR before the game, so it's going to be, we just got him back, and he's already back to injured as well. So,
I mean, don't forget Mason. Mason's got a shoulder.
Mason's going to be kind of a question mark. He's questionable. And by the time Mason's back, maybe that's about the time Christian McCaffrey could be back. Who knows? Yeah. So then does Mason get the role back, or I mean, what happens there? We don't know. There's just a lot of questions going forward for the first place in the NFC West. San Francisco 49ers, with all these injuries and all these question marks, they're still in first. I mean, the Seahawks are tied 3-3 as well, but Niners beat them to get there. So Cardinals are 2-4, and the Rams, they look lost. They're 1-4 without their 2-star receivers, and just a whole bunch of other injuries as well. That defense isn't very good either. So this division is still very winnable, and I don't have any illusions of the Niners winning the number 1 seed. So you're gonna have to go through the wild card weekend to win the whole thing. But they've done that before, to get to the Super Bowl in recent memory. So it's not the end of the world.
There's going to be quite a few issues for both of our teams that, injury bugs hitting you and question marks with our play calling. But I do want to say that, I give my shit about Jalen Hurts just because some of his decision making to me at times could be a little bit questionable. But he didn't have any picks this game, so it's the first time he hasn't had picks since the last season too. So I want to give him that shout out too. As far as you saying full circle here, there could be a chance that you might have a coach come back to your ranks here next season.
Right. Yeah. So the Jets fired Robert Saleh after the game in London, and so they replaced him with Jeff Ulbrich, who was a former 49er linebacker for many years, and during the bad times was the leading tackler. He was kind of a leader on the team, and I think he's a smart guy. He knows his stuff, but also you're replacing a defensive minded head coach with a defensive minded assistant, and that feels like a lateral move to me. And you didn't fire the guy that was really causing the problems. I don't think Nathaniel Hackett's the one that should have got the axe there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Hackett didn't hack it in Denver, so I don't think he's going to hack it here either. But
yeah,
that's Aaron Rodgers' guy.
yeah, it does not make that move did not make sense to me like at all. I don't get it. I don't it's just I get if you don't think Robert Saleh is the guy, then you got to fire him and you can start your head coaching search for next year. I don't get replacing him with Jeff Ulbrich though, because I don't know how that's different. It really like tangibly different in any way, right? Because he's not calling the plays on offense. The Jets defense is pretty good, So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be honest with you, man. If this Vic Fangio experiment doesn't work out for the Eagles, that phone call better ring to Robert Saleh as fast as it possibly can.
Right. And Robert Saleh has already said that he's not going to join on another team's staff this year. He's going to sit out the rest of the year and just like hang out with the family and just kind of let things boil, like calm down a little bit and just, work shit out. So,
yeah, of course.